I'm going to get this going.
That
Recording going. All right.
at this time, I'll call this meeting to order. It's 4:02. Let's stand and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Item 1.2, adopting the agenda. Are there any corrections, adjustments to the agenda?
5.5, we never received the Northern United Siskiyou Charter Schools first interim budget. So that we can adopt the agenda with the amendment of removing that item, or when we get to that item, we can table it either way.
All right,
Whoever wants to make the motion can make that call.
yeah, what's the board's pleasure? Remove it or table it when we get to it?
Table.
I would say just remove it.
Okay.
Just go over it, but I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Okay, well, is there a motion?
I'll make.
Go.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendment of removing 5.5.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bianca,
Aye.
Rosemary,
Aye.
I also approve. Agenda is adopted as amended.
Jer, I'm here also.
Oh,
Good.
good.
Thank you.
Hi, Melissa.
All right, presentations. So we have
Do
a,
you want to get Melissa's vote for this?
what's that?
Do you want to get Melissa's vote for item 1.2?
I didn't know that she was there. She just chimed in after the fact.
Okay.
Student presentation, the Bryceland Learning Center. I remember last year's.
Okay, we're unmuted. There you go.
There we are.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. I'm Nona Ikeda, and I'm the 6th grade teacher here in Bryceland. And with me, I have 2 of my 5th grade students. We were hoping to have more, but there's been a bug going around, so they're out of school today. But I have 2 wonderful poets. We've been doing a little poetry unit, learning about the different elements of poetry, rhyme, rhythm, stanzas, lines, and finding inspiration from different poets as well. So these 2 girls have 2 of their own. Oh, actually, Abby has a few. So you'll hear poems, mostly free verse poems from these girls here. And the first to go here is Azalea.
Hi, Azalea.
Hi.
How are
This
you?
is my good.
Good.
This is my favorite poem called Silent Walk. I hear the birds chirping their lovely song. I hear my footsteps thumping and breaking the silence. I hear the water almost laughing as it rushes past the rocks. I feel calm, peaceful, quiet. I feel my backpack on my shoulders, feeling like the weight of the world. Now is my chance to listen. I study the plants around me, this wonderful world, and I realize that I know little and have lots to learn. I am happy, grateful, and small. This is silent walking.
Very good.
Who was the author?
Excuse me? They might have questions, so you might want to just wait a second.
Who was the author?
I wrote that.
That wasn't clear. That was outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
We like to, when we have circles and students present, this is how we clap for them. We like to give the little poetry jam snap. You want to come over here, Abby? Why don't you come over this way, because I don't think this will go that far. Okay, go ahead. Come over
I
here.
don't want to show myself.
This is Abigail, and she has a couple of poems for you as well.
Hi, Abigail.
This one doesn't have a name,
No title.
no
But talk
title.
loud, okay?
Okay. Life is a miracle. When the birds sing, I am happy. My imagination is a gift. Animals are what keep me going. Food is nature's wish, but home keeps me warm. My heart is why I am here, but friends are a reason to live.
Oh, very nice.
I have one more I'm gonna say. Right away, this one is called. I do not choose what I write. I do not control the pen that touches the paper. It guides me. I do not guide it. It has a mind of its own. Sometimes I think it's alive. Either way, it's amazing. It's beautiful. The gift of writing. Once you start, you'll have to try hard to stop. Sometimes you'll almost feel trapped until the story is done. Right away, right away.
Abby,
You might have a
Very
question.
good.
All right.
Abby, they might have a question for you. She's a little
She's
shy.
a little shy, but
Well, that was amazing.
They are, they're good
you.
writers.
they really enjoyed that. You know, they got a lot of time to explore different ways of using words and ideas. And so I'm really proud of all of them. And we have some other great poets in our class, and I'm really sorry that they could not be here. But if you have any questions for them, they're gonna come back and have a little seat here. If you have any questions.
You're okay, Abby.
Great job, you guys. I have a question. How long did it take you to write those poems you read?
I think it took me maybe 10 minutes or so. One of
Wow.
I don't know how long one of them took me. It was for my homework, and I decided I wanted to do it as one of these. And then the others probably took me 5 minutes each.
Wow, impressive.
One called Right Away inspired me by a book title. It just said Right Away on it. So I'm like, I could make a poem out of that.
It's apparent that both of you enjoy writing poetry as well as reading it.
Yeah, I do.
Have you been writing poetry for a long time, for years, or just this year?
Just about this year, not very long.
Well, keep it up. You're both very good.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks for having them.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for having us, and thanks for taking care of our business for the school. We really appreciate it.
Good. Well, happy holidays to you.
Holidays.
To you too. Okay. Wasn't so bad, was it? Okay, girl.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Really was. Okay, 3 consent agenda. 3.1, consideration of approval of warrants and payroll for Northern United Humboldt Charter School. 3.2, consideration of approval of warrants and payroll for Northern United Siskiyou Charter School. Batches 1107 and 1118. 3.3, consideration of approval of minutes for the November 10, 2022 board meeting. 3.4, consideration of resignations, hires, leaves, and change of assignments. Are there any questions, comments? Anything you'd like to remove?
I have a question on the 3.4 down at the bottom where April has now become the food service coordinator. Couple of things. Does that leave her position vacant? Okay.
That's when
And
we do have those.
oh. And when leaving one position for another position, do you take your salary with you? Or do you have a new salary based on the new position?
Yeah, it's a new salary because it's a new position.
New
That's a different
position.
pay line. Yeah, it's a different place on the pay schedule.
Okay,
Any other questions or comments?
I have none.
No, okay, the one that jumps out at me, obviously, is, Lacey.
Mm.
Any plan to, fill that position?
Not right now.
Is it, a budget reason?
No, just the duties that she was doing, different people took on. So right now, there's not, like I took on the board packets. And so right now, it doesn't feel like there's a need to replace that position. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. I'm disappointed that, she's gone.
Yeah.
So, okay, is there a motion?
I'll
I'll make a
motion to
motion.
accept the consent agenda as posted.
I'll second that.
All right, and then moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bianca,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Rosemary,
Aye.
I also approve. Motion carries. Consent agenda adopted as posted. Public comments on items not on the agenda. Under this item, the public is invited to address the board regarding items that are not on today's agenda. Please keep your comments concise, brief, and limited to 3 minutes. The board is not allowed under the law to take action on matters that are not on the agenda. Should comments from the public pertain to a charge or complaint against an employee of Northern United Humboldt Charter School or Northern United Siskiyou Charter School, the board encourages the speaker to utilize the school's written complaint procedures to pursue the matter. The public will have an opportunity to comment on all agenda items as those are heard. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment on an item not on the agenda? All right. Moving on to action item. First, 5.1, approval of the board meeting calendar for 2023.
So you saw in your packet that I just put a draft version. Those would be the dates if we kept it on the same second Thursday of the month at 4 o'clock. This is what it would look like, but this was just a starting point. It could be changed. The only kind of conflict in here with that, you'll notice, was the April. I went ahead and put that as the first Thursday because the second Thursday was spring break. But all the rest didn't, none of the rest aligned with a vacation. But I think it's warrants just a quick, check to see if that date still works for all our members. The second Thursday at 4. And just so you know, we did get email correspondence or text correspondence from Amy saying that Mondays and Wednesdays are better for her. So I'll throw that out there. And she would also prefer a later time because of her work schedule. Technically, she doesn't get off till 5. So anyway, we can open it up to discussion.
Okay, let's hear any comments or suggestions, if there are any. Bianca?
The second Thursday still works for me. I'm also fine with Mondays or Wednesdays. I do know that I will be traveling on May 11th, so I know that I will not be available for that. And that's all I have at this time. I don't have any other hard ongoing meetings at this time. So I'm flexible.
Okay. That's good. Melissa? Any suggestions?
It's been really easy to just continue to do it on the second Thursday, just having that in my mind. But I think that a Wednesday actually would work better for me because the place that I work at is closed that. So I would have less schedule shuffling to do if it was on a Wednesday. But otherwise, I mean, I'm still open to continue to make this work out. And the only date on the calendar that I can see that would be a conflict would be the February 9th because it's my son's birthday. And all the other days look good.
Well, I'm open as well. Whatever works for the entire group, I'm on board with. I'm not in favor of having the meeting later. I like 4 o'clock, just seems to work for me.
I think it would be harder on staff if it were later too.
I think
because
so.
If we weren't required to have somebody at every learning center, it would be different, but
Mhm.
you know, everyone there has already been at work all day.
All
and
day,
so-
and they're there. Exactly. As every year, I won't be available on that June 22nd meeting, but sometimes it's changed to the last week based on the information, you know, that we had at the time.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We can just choose to like move it right now, you know, not
Yeah.
have it be the last week as well.
And
With our track record, that seems to be the way it
it
goes
it
anyway.
has been, and that is a for sure for me. December the 14th is iffy.
Mm.
Hmm.
And what about you?
Well, being retired gives a tremendous amount of flexibility. So I'm pretty flexible. The one thing that does jump out at me is the June meetings having a week apart. In the past, I've liked how the flow has occurred to have back-to-back meetings.
I'm not sure why I did that.
And
That's what we always do is back to back.
right, and certainly the June 22nd, I don't know, historically or traditionally, has been a no-go for
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Yeah,
And so
so June 29th and 30th are the last 2 days of the month. If that's.
well,
what you did.
that's, yeah, that's,
Which is questionable, because then if, you know, but
Yeah,
that's what we've
there's
been
an
doing.
issue.
well, not always been doing this year due to unforeseen circumstances. It just happened to end up there. And you know, that's pushing it pretty far to the 11th hour, you know, where and you have to understand that, you know, the board has to have a budget adopted by June 30th, because July 1st starts the new fiscal year. So I'd like to personally, of course, I don't mind either way. If that's what the group decides, then so be it. My preference would be to have it earlier and have it back-to-back days, but that doesn't mean it works for everybody, and certainly this year's example, you know, proves that's right. Now, you know, that it's been thrown out that a different day of the week is a possibility. So then that would all of these dates, so.
Right. And so we can look at that.
Yeah, and I think based upon some of the input, it's important for us to revisit a day of the week and the week of the month so that it works for almost everybody routinely,
Yeah,
acknowledging exceptions will occur due to unforeseen illnesses, accidents, catastrophes, blah, 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 blah.
so if we do the second Wednesday, all of the dates are just like one day
One day,
earlier.
mhm.
So instead of January 12th, it's January 11th, instead of February 9th, it's February 8th, March 8th. April, it would still need to be that first week, so it'd be the 5th, because spring break's the whole week.
Right.
And then May 10th. And then we'll figure out the Junes. There's no meeting in July. August is 9, September is 13, October is 11, November is 8, and December is 13. One thing though I wasn't clear on, Bianca and Melissa, does 4 work for you still? Time for the time? Okay.
I like earlier also.
You would like earlier also.
Or
And I think earlier would probably be harder on Amy. I feel like 4 might be kind of splitting the difference, and she's off work at 5. She's only having to leave an hour early that way versus if we were earlier.
Sorry, I didn't mean earlier than 4. I mean
Okay,
earlier
got
later. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Okay, so then I think the consensus is keeping it at 4.
Well, I just want to make a comment,
Mm.
about that. As you very well know, and I also know, regular schools, school boards, they don't meet until
Yeah,
7, maybe 6. And I just want to acknowledge the uniqueness of the arrangement our charter school has, and that, we're, the board is, it's the 5 of us with the officers coming together to do the business of the corporation. And by starting our meetings at 4, we're doing it to accommodate staff members so that they, unlike regular school individuals, they can basically just continue to stay at work on that day. And then if they choose to stay all the way through the board meeting, certainly some are required because of the law that we have to abide by, versus other schools where everybody goes home and then comes back. So I just want to make sure that, that's acknowledged. I have no problem with 4.
I think every district and school and entity is different in terms of when they're board meetings.
Sure.
The county offices, it's during the day in the morning.
mhm.
So they're all different. Every board, every district, it's up to the board to decide what works best for the board. So
If we were to change to a Monday or a Wednesday, does that affect the after-school meetings at the sites?
it could, like people who have staff, like right now, centers that have staff meetings on
Right,
Wednesdays.
right.
Yeah, they would just have to adjust that potentially, but usually they're done by 4 anyway. Well, it seems like the consensus is Wednesdays, the second Wednesday at 4. That seemed like that accommodated everybody.
So, yes, that's,
So then the
that
Junes,
appears, so
if
So the only outstanding thing, be prudent to get at least the tentative dates in June, instead of waiting till, later on to decide which day, which combination works best. So that I think there's wisdom in knowing way in advance. You put it on your calendar and it's there and you're aware of it. And as potential things come up that you could or couldn't schedule to do,
Right,
then, oh, I can't go down on that day
Yeah.
because I've got a board meeting.
right, so June 28th and 29th are the last Wednesday and Thursday of the month. If we wanted to stick with our second Wednesday, then that's the 14th and 15th. I mean, it seems like we should just avoid the week of the 21st and 22nd, right,
Mhm.
Rosemary?
Mhm.
So it's either the 14th and 15th or the 28th and 29th of June. Anybody have any feelings one way or the other?
Now,
Tammy does.
I was gonna say, we always wait
Mhm.
until that last, which is the 11th hour.
So you would prefer the 28th, 29th, just to be on the safe side.
Just from here, I couldn't guarantee that in June, what week it's gonna be done.
Yeah,
If, once we give our dates, that's when I know, okay,
Right.
yeah, once I give the board dates, then they send me back, okay, this is when you gotta have it. So until I get that information.
So should we just go with the
Use
28th and
June.
29th? If nobody has a preference, that makes it easier. Okay, so the
and we would
dates,
have the 30th if we
had to.
if we had to.
True, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so second Wednesday at 4 o'clock, January 11th, February 8th, March 8th, April 5th, May 10th, June 28th, June 29th, none in July, August 9th, September 13th, October 11, November 8th, December 13th. And I will retype that and email it to all of you.
I will not be available for the May meeting. I'll be traveling.
Right, okay.
And if you could just include me in the email so I can get
I
it put
will.
up on the website.
The website, yeah, will do.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, I guess it needs to be a voting on.
Yes.
The old habits are gonna be hard to break here.
Okay, is it clear to everyone what we've agreed upon?
Yes.
If not, now's the time to speak up because I'm going to call for a motion. No, okay, all right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the 2023 school board regular meeting calendar as adjusted.
I'll second.
Which is, okay, all right.
Which is the second Wednesdays of the month.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, is that clear, Linda?
Yeah.
Based on, I would prefer the motion to say, moving it to the second Wednesday of the month. But
Justin, it's fine.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can make the motion.
good, all right. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bianca,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Rosemary.
Right?
I also approve, motion carries. All right, 5.2. Approval of the Northern United Charter School Board officers. So, this is the time of year when we decide upon the chairperson of the board, the vice chairperson of the board. And I can open up for any discussion. If not, basically a motion naming or nominating a chairperson and vice chairperson.
Well, I think that we've had a well-oiled machine for a long time, and I would just go with status quo.
Is that a motion?
No, I think I was just discussing.
Bianca, Melissa,
Go ahead, Melissa.
Do you guys feel comfortable with your positions?
well, I'll start because of the hierarchy. As much as I have great respect for Rosemary, and her faith in how things have structurally been since the beginning and all that we've accomplished because of that, I think the time has come for me to step down. And which honestly will start making the way for me to resign. I won't be renewing my term, and whether or not I make it all the way to the end of that term is very questionable. So, so I prefer not to be the chairperson of the board of directors.
So we need a motion for a new chair.
Well, I'll make, this is, this kind of opens things up. Because technically the chair wouldn't make a motion, but I'll move that I'll move that Bianca become the chairperson of the board of directors and Rosemary become the vice chairperson of the board of directors.
There's crickets happening here.
So if there's no second to that motion, then it dies.
Well, before it dies, can I ask a question before we move to a motion? Is that like,
Sure.
how do you ladies feel about those positions? Do you feel comfortable with that?
I feel that Bianca has done an outstanding job every time she has had to fill in for Jerry. I think that she would do an excellent job.
And yourself, how do you feel about being vice chair?
I've done it once. I survived. Everybody else survived.
And just a point of clarification, early on, we established a precedent that the two officers of the board of directors, each one be from a different county, so that no one county at this time, I mean, that's always subject to change. At this time, no one county would have both officers.
So Bianca, how do you feel?
I feel confident in my ability to be chair, but I do not want, I don't have more time. I'm already very, very strapped for time. I'm very spread thin with all of my different responsibilities as a person. And so that's where my fear is, that's what I'm worried about. And so
Fair enough.
with that,
So
I would,
Rosemary?
I would suggest Rosemary. I mean, Rosemary, you have more experience in the education sector professionally than I do also. And you have great access to Sherry. And I would nominate Melissa be vice chair to mix things up. And I think she would do great at that as well.
Well, thank you for your kind words. I don't think that I would do it.
Somebody's got to do it, you guys. Come on. Someone needs to step up. Melissa, do you want to be chair?
Oh, but, let me interject something here. Based upon what Bianca just said, and, I think that's really important. I was hoping to, later on in our discussion items, bring this up. So I don't think it's, of course, it varies from board to board. Sherry and I will have, different experiences, and also safe to say different opinions about some of these things. But just what do you all think the chairperson of the board does? What is their function, role, responsibility? And moving forward, I think that's a very critical thing to understand. So I've got a list, and I may have missed some things, but just let me bear with me, and I'll articulate this. And I'm not. It's kind of think of it as knowledge and understanding what you're getting yourself into. If you have loads of time, suppose it's not a problem. So the chairperson runs the meeting, obviously, and the discussions. You could see the pattern of how I've approached this, and runs the public hearings. Now we've only had one major public hearing involving the public, the condom policy. And so I had to facilitate that and make sure that all went smoothly, which I think did. A second one would be interacts with the director for multiple reasons. It doesn't require in person. Although for me, it's been in person and phone calls and texts and emails and so and that. Also, as it's been so far, the chairperson facilitates the evaluation of the director. The chairperson facilitates contract negotiations of the director. The chairperson signs diplomas twice a year. The chairperson signs the reimbursement documents for the director, any travel expenses, etc. The chairperson leads the interview of new board member candidates. And those are the major things that I came up with,
Yeah.
just based upon my experience.
And I think of all of those, the only one I think that probably would be easier, better, I don't know, for the person to be on the Humboldt side is the signing of the diplomas. Because otherwise they would all have to be mailed to Siskiyou to get signed and then mailed back.
Well,
That's the only one that really
Yeah.
you know, would be beneficial for the in-person part, I think.
Right, and that's true. And I've talked to you about that. That at some point in the longevity of this school board district, that there's going to be a chairperson in Siskiyou County, as long as Siskiyou continues to be financially viable and blah, 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 that the dynamic changes. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just gonna be different. And that's just the way it is. So, you know, it's because the chairperson runs the meetings, in the ideal world, the other board members who can't make it, or something comes up, traditionally, you know, going back to the start, they've all reached out to the chairperson. So, anyway, I don't know if that helps or hurts, changes anybody's mind, but
Basically, is anybody willing?
yeah.
That's, anybody willing to take on chair and vice chair?
Bianca, how do you feel about that workload? Does that feel like it would align or would it be too heavy?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think, you know, I was pretty well aware, in trying to set aside time to have those discussions with Sherry, which would be very important. I just don't see it.
Okay. Rosemary, Melissa,
I'd like to be vice.
you'd like to be vice. Melissa, would you be willing to be chair?
I really feel like I don't have enough experience and, I mean, as you guys can probably see, my time management skills are not great. So I don't know if I would really be qualified for that.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Okay,
Amy?
yeah, okay.
So Amy's not there. Vote on her.
Doesn't show. Gets to
Yeah,
be chair.
that, Kurt, that's a good point. I thought of that earlier. I said, you know, it's like somebody, you know, that's on the board or in the committee, and they're not showing up. Well, they're the ones that get us.
Yeah.
Assume that.
Rosemary, I'm gonna make a plea to you because
Well,
you're consistently here. You rarely miss. You've missed less than any other board member. You have chaired before
Yes,
and you've been on since the beginning.
yes.
You have no reason not to.
Her face.
I think somebody makes a motion.
They're good points, Rosemary.
Well, no,
I hate you.
yeah, I know.
You're drinking some Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I
We need you.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
need you, Rosemary.
I prefer to,
Stay.
I mean,
Bianca, would you?
I
be
mean,
chair?
by default,
Yeah.
you know, I would continue to do it, but I think, you know, at this time.
Bianca said she would be vice.
It'd be,
Motion for Rosemary to take chair.
Who's talking?
Keep going, Melissa, keep going.
Chair. I motion for Rosemary to take the chair of the board and Bianca to take vice chair position.
That works beautifully. Now we just need a second. Jerry? Bianca?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
okay, it's been moved and seconded.
I got you,
That-
Rosemary. I got you.
That
Yay.
Rosemary become the chairperson and Bianca be the vice chairperson. Any further discussion?
Let's let's go into this, that, it'll be a short-term position for me.
Well, next December, we'll have an organizational meeting again. Every December, there's a new opportunity for someone else to be chair.
I'm aware of that. All right. You guys are gonna have to hold my hand.
We will.
Fine.
Jerry's not going anywhere. We'll be here.
You
We
should
got
just
you.
stay until you can't do this anymore. You're the one that has always said, we're like Supreme Court justices. We can't leave.
But
We
then nobody
die.
gets any on-the-job training. A lot of boards purposely rotate it out every 2 years, so everyone gets a chance to be chair.
We'll evaluate.
So that
at the
this
end of
doesn't happen.
next year. Mhm.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Well,
Yeah.
but in all fairness to that statement, those are boards that have been around a long time. And they have their own inherent built-in practices that we don't really.
I mean, every new board member is voted on every 4 years, unless people stay on longer than that, and, you know, boards turn over.
But I mean, organizationally and, you know, expectations and all of that.
Almost every district I talk to, they don't even have a board handbook. You know, Jacoby Creek doesn't have a board handbook, but you know, nobody has a board handbook even.
Oh.
We're a lot farther along
Yeah.
than you give us credit.
In some cases.
It's just,
Yeah.
really leading the
Definitely.
way. It
Definitely.
really is.
We need a
We've come a
vote.
long way, baby.
Yes,
Oh,
we have.
Oh, okay. Any other comments? So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bianca,
I,
Melissa,
Aye.
Rosemary?
Let the record show and let the minutes reflect that I'm hesitant to do this.
That's an aye. That's what the minutes are gonna read.
Is an I?
Is that you're voting yes. Hesitant is not a no.
Well, then let's say no.
No, I don't wanna write that. But
With
I-
hesitation, okay.
Okay, that's an aye.
So mad at Carol. I'm mad at you. I understand, Bianca.
And.
It's gonna be okay, Rosemary.
I still need your vote, Jared.
I know.
Go ahead and say no.
And I approve. Motion carries.
He approves of
Unanimously,
you,
Rosemary,
Rosemary.
I might add.
Yeah.
All right.
thank you.
I can't talk as much though. Not meaning that I can't talk as much as you, but I can't talk as much as I do normally over here.
You can't make your comment, but I can. You can. You'll make the board meetings, I don't know, comical. Thank you guys for being willing to do that. I do appreciate it.
Moving on, Jerry. Come
No,
on.
I'm not.
Well, she doesn't take over till January, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we
this
have
is-
5.3.
I've never understood it to be that way.
Oh, you think she starts running the meeting now?
No.
That's all I have to know, because this and
See, the only reason I, say that is because always in the past, I've been
it's still
that
being
person.
used.
that's been
Yeah,
for the
no,
meeting.
you finished the meetings. This is effective January, just like the calendar of the
Okay, yeah,
meeting is
yeah,
effective
okay,
January.
To give her a breather. She needs a breather.
Okay, 5.3, approval of the Northern United Charter School corporate officers. And as you know, every year, in addition to setting the chair and vice chair positions, we also deal with the president, secretary, and treasurer. And currently, the president is our director, Sherry. And our secretary is Linda. And treasurer is Tammy. And is there a motion?
I motion to re-elect the current corporate officers.
Which are,
Sherry, Tammy, and I'm sorry. who was
Linda.
that? Linda,
Linda.
sorry about that.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bianca,
Hi.
Melissa,
Hi.
Rosemary.
Aye.
I also approve. Motion carries. 5.4 certification of Northern United Humboldt Charter Schools first interim budget. Tammy,
Yeah. First, I want you guys to reflect that I wasn't here at budget adoption, so you never got a report showing a lot of the things that, as the last time we had a report was second interim. So looking at this, you're looking at something I never reported to you guys back then. It looks like.
And this was emailed out to you today.
Yes.
Just in case Tammy emailed it out to all of the board members
Oh.
today.
oh, yes. There we go.
Oh, I guess it's not mine.
Yeah, that was emailed,
This afternoon.
yeah, 2:00, 1:30.
Mhm.
See if I have a time stamp on this, anyway. So you can,
Go ahead. Okay, so our overall revenues for first interim, we have a gain of 341,916. That's great. First interim, all of our, except for one, all of our certificated sales, everything have all increased in the expenditures, except for our services and other operating, that's gone down. So right now, we are spending a deficit spending, if you go down to the bottom
mhm,
of 118,189. I have done a spreadsheet up until November as far as what we had spent by each month. And we're very far from deficit spending by the time it gets to June.
mhm.
And I'm just keeping a track of that each month to see just what we're falling.
So in other words, this is what's budgeted, but when you look at actuals, we're really not spending as much as this as we budgeted.
Right, and when you look at your first interim report, it always says, oh, if you budgeted that, then you're gonna, then we know that we're not gonna have to do like that.
That's
So,
what budgets are.
yeah,
They're fluid.
so back on second interim, I gave you a long list of our COVID-19 one-time funds. Right here, you can see that these are the funds that we so far fully expended. And then below that, those are the, all the ESSER funds, and then some new ones that we still have left. And the amount on the funds that we have remaining to spend is $1,114,008. We look good for to be positive for the
Yeah.
next 3 years. I mean, if you look at your, the next 3 years, we're looking good. We got like 1.6 million in down. That's the report. I wish I could do the SISU, but.
Right. So that's a good
Any questions?
good snapshot.
Yeah.
And I know,
Thanks, Tammy.
yes, thank you very much. I appreciate how this is laid out so that you can see all these things and, you know, all the basically buckets or pots of money.
Right, and it's nice to know, okay, we're spinning those up like we're supposed to, and not just let them sit. So, and A lot of the ones that you see down below that are still remaining, we're using the salary, people's salaries for, like, teachers. So that's eating those funds up, and that's what we want to do. So.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Tammy? Over there in Siskiyou?
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a positive certification motion?
I'll make a motion to certify the Northern United Humboldt Charter Schools first interim budget as positive.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bianca,
Aye.
Melissa,
Hi.
Rosemary,
Aye.
I also approve. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Good job. All right, moving on to discussion items. 6.1, board evaluation and format. So you can see the three links that Sherry included in our packet, and those most likely came from members providing potential resources to her prior to putting the packet together. And so we've long talked about doing a board evaluation, and it's just like this is an unfinished piece of business from the beginning. You know, we had talked about that, and stuff just started happening, and then of course the pandemic, and we were not able to meet in person, and so on and so forth. So the information is here, and it's quite comprehensive. Now, the one thing about doing an evaluation, I mean, some of it, if you looked at those resources, one was it was entitled School Board Self-Evaluation, and it has broken into numbers from 0 to 10, and a lot of it, this particular one deals with mainly analyzing how the board approaches different things, in the governance. So like the one document talks about dimension 1, it's divided into several dimensions: contextual, educational, interpersonal, analytical, political, strategic, and then there's questions and comments. And then one of them was a checklist. And looks like I didn't bring my other one. So these are really good, but in some instances, I personally believe it's putting the cart before the horse. And I say that in respect to every other thing we have validated, we're on point, in my opinion. School goals, supporting the school, the financial end of it and all that. But then once we get into, evaluating interpersonal and the actual board functioning, that's where, and I alluded to it earlier, that the from my perspective, because I've been doing it for however many years now, the important role that the chairperson plays. And I wanted to, what I wanted to do is to start this discussion by asking each of you what you think the role of the chairperson is of the board, because then I think that affects how the self-evaluation goes on, because it does involve all those other kinds of issues, the attendance and interactions and so on. So admittedly, I have stated it's been a real frustrating year for me. And as I've also said, I concluded that some of it's born out of the fact that there's been a lack of communication, that getting upset about things that I've come to the realization that people didn't understand how it's supposed to work, so to speak, or how it's worked since we've been doing it since the beginning. And then that leads into other things. But I thought it'd be important, moving forward, how we view how the 5 members on the board interact and chain of command and those kinds of things. So I'd like to hear from each of you, because moving forward, then that sort of clears the air. And so, as the earlier discussion, maybe from this point forward, every year there'll be a new chairperson and vice chairperson. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that, and I, unfortunately, we have our newest member who can't be here due to a conflict. It'd be nice to have everybody hear all the same information so that we're all on the same page. And that, and if the way things have been from day one up until now, and moving forward are not acceptable, then fine, it's up to collectively to the board to decide what kind of a board they want to be moving forward. And we just all need to know and understand what that is. So I don't mean to put anyone on the spot, but I'll just follow my traditional pattern. When things come up, I go around to each of you and ask what you have to say. So,
Can I
Miss-
ask a clarifying question,
Ms.
Jerry?
Bianca, yes, go ahead.
So, are you just, maybe you guys are clear, but are you asking them which of these three potential board evaluations they would like? Oh,
No.
okay,
No, not yet.
okay.
Because a component of it is, talking about the I mean, everybody has a different perception of what a board evaluation or self-evaluation is. And on one hand, it's, how we interact as a group, as kind of the family and interpersonal communications and understanding how things work. And then there's how collectively the board works towards, all those other dimensions, supporting school policy, being a cheerleader for the district and support financially and so on and so forth. So Bianca.
So I'm not very clear on exactly what you want me to comment on. Would you like to hear how I think we should be operating?
How do you see the chain of command, the role of the chair, because everything starts with the chairperson? Because of, in my experience, I have to qualify that, which may not be what anybody wants. And recall, I listed approximately seven different things that I did that I have no idea. I have no clue if any of the rest of you knew that I was doing that as chairperson of the board. And I think it's important for all of us to have that kind of understanding. Oh yes, this is what, that's what the chairperson does.
Can I say something? I think, at least for me, your list, you've been very open when we've had like Sherry's evaluation or Sherry's contract in telling us what your next step is. And so all along the way, you've been very open at, I guess, reporting back to us what your next move is, so to speak, and the outcome at the following meeting. Well, I met with Sherry and this is what was decided and whatnot. You have been extremely transparent all along from day one. Does that clarify maybe?
Yeah, we're having a hard time following, I think, Jerry, what it is you're
Yeah.
asking. Because I think that, like, my guess is on the agenda, this discussion item was discussed board evaluation and format. So I'm thinking that that's probably what people came here thinking about. And so now to ask them to discuss what their feelings are on the board chair might, I don't know, that might not be what they came prepared to do, or.
Maybe we should have that as a discussion item for our next board meeting, and it would
Yeah.
give us some time to maybe think that through.
Well, if you look at the different, on this one that I referenced, the evaluation, dimension 2 educational. And so you can read through that. The board assigns new members a mentor. advance,
Also, whatever tool you guys end up deciding, it doesn't have to be set in stone, so you can use it, and if you end up not liking it, you can change something, just
Right,
something else, so
right.
you don't have to overthink it too much.
And the one that you're looking at, and I don't know whether it was 1, 2, or 3 on here, to me was so long.
It was long.
And,
they all are long.
There was a lot to it.
I think that not only if we're asking for input from each other, but the staff, any questionnaire or evaluation, have your talking points, so to speak, and not get bogged down in every little component. Because doing this for the first time, that'll be our starting point.
Okay.
And that was just my opinion.
No,
The samples that were on here, those templates that were on here, you know how they were broken down into the kind of like big categories, like board superintendent relations, or, board staff relations. They're kind of broad categories. I mean, you could start out with just thinking of each of those categories and then everybody rating themselves on a 1 to 5. How do I think I personally do in this category on a 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst? How do I think we do as a board? And then just the 2 ratings for each of those categories or something. You could simplify one of them like that.
Yeah.
Maybe an area for,
dummy it down for me.
and maybe an area for comments on each subject, because we
Yeah.
probably all have different perspective on what that means. And so then we
Right.
could all write comments and compare notes together. It might just open up a more authentic and kind of intuitive way to see how we all think we're doing it.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of when we can all be together, like when we were over there in Siskiyou, how we just fine-tuned everything. And this to me would be a perfect opportunity to all be together, hashing it out back and forth.
Fine. So is there any one of those 3 resources that anybody liked or liked parts of? Or, I mean, I realize it's a starting point, but so what? So did these cause you to think of, oh, I'd like to do it this way? Or I found this 1-page board evaluation that I think would work really well. Does anybody have anything like that to share with all of us? No? Okay.
I do not.
Well, it's it's on one hand, I kind of envision kind of something along the format of the well, not exactly like that, but in the concept of the evaluation form we use for sharing.
Absolutely, yes.
That-
Exactly, and then
So we have to pick the broad categories and then, the meet, and then we have room to make a
And
comment.
that's essentially what one of these is. There's like 11 broad categories, and then you rate it. It gives a little description of what that broad category is. And then it gives either 0 is unacceptable, 1 needs improvement, 2 is good, 3 is excellent, 4 is outstanding. So that's what the one that's I think it was the Oregon,
Right.
it was the Oregon one.
Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon School Boards Association.
Yeah,
To
that,
me, that one was the best one. It was
It
the
was.
middle link.
there you go, yeah.
it was,
Mhm.
it was,
So I could take that document if you want and put our name and logo on it but otherwise, have the content be the same and bring it to the next meeting if that's the one you want to. Yeah. Because then you'd have like, everybody would have the same document to be looking at. And, I can try to maybe condense it a little bit so it's not so many pages or something
Well,
too.
sure. And then,
It's spread out, like they have the rating scale, like under each of those 11 domains. It only needs to be at the top once, and then afterwards, the 1 through 5, a place to write 1 through 5 next to it, So I would maybe tweak it like that, and then I could bring it back next time and have it be like maybe an action item, and then, but we could still tweak it.
sure, that's really good suggestion. And then we have the opportunity to look at the wording
The words.
and change
Yes.
and look for those wonky
Yeah,
kinds of statements.
Okay, so I'll do that to
Oregon.
the link number 2, the Oregon
Yeah.
one. Okay, that'll be at next meeting. Awesome.
Okay. Then moving on to 6.2, attendance protocol for the board handbook. So
that one I did make a little draft, and you guys saw that I did it in the exact same format that our current board handbook already has those protocols set up as. And I just followed that same, same format exactly with the principles and then the protocol. And the principles, I got the wording from some of those resources that were linked on there. And then the protocols, like the list of things, those ones were a combination of things from the resources and things I heard you guys say at the previous meeting. For example, if, a board member was going to miss a meeting, then the board member would contact the school director in order to be brought up to speed if they missed the meeting. Or if the board, if someone's going to miss it and they know in advance or whatever, they'll notify the board chair ahead of time. So some of those things that we had talked about, I put in there. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at that, and if you have any changes or anything, or any thoughts or edits.
I do.
Okay, good. I hoped you would.
It is the third bullet down.
Okay.
It says here, the board member may contact the school director. I think that the board member should, or will, or whatever. I think it's important that they do that, because if we're gonna vote on something and they're not brought up to speed, should we consider not having them vote? Because they're not gonna know unless they talk to somebody all that background info.
So that wasn't my intention, but now that you're saying that, I see why, like maybe what I should have put instead of the board member may, I should say the board member will
or
either, because do you see I put they're either going to contact me or watch the video.
right.
So either way,
Right.
they're getting up to speed. So maybe what I should have said is something like they will do this, it had the or, but so
Yeah.
okay. Because I intended they would either contact me or watch the video, but I felt like either would be
Either would
okay.
be okay.
So maybe if I just
It's
say
We don't want somebody blindly
yeah.
voting without all the background.
Okay, so the board
that we
member
have.
shall means
Mhm.
must, shall contact the
Okay.
director or watch the video.
needs to be a little
Okay,
more
so I'll
explicit.
change that to shall.
And that was all that I had on this.
I feel like it would be beneficial if we were expected to before, maybe even if you watch the video before contacting, like reverse the two to make that more of the priority, because I feel like overburdening you to catch us up to speed, for instance, if 2 members miss, and then that's a whole extra, hour each that you would need to spend catching them up in order for, so I feel like it's a good expectation to have that we will watch the
video.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
when
that should
I
be the
missed a
first
good
priority.
chunk, that's what I did before I came back, was I just got on the website and I watched the videos when I had missed like 2 or 3, in a row. And I'm like, that's much better than like, burdening any of you to.
Okay, so do you think I should say shall view the recorded version of the missed meeting and may contact the school director for further questions or clarifications or something?
Yeah, I think with any questions or clarification, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's keeping in line with Cherry. The director's role is to provide us with the background information in order to make our decision. And many times, for a variety of reasons, she'll make a recommendation about an outcome. So that's good. Is everybody comfortable with the second bullet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I raise that because therein lies the source of frustration. Actually going back to every new board member since the inception. So good. So is
Can I say one more thing about that third bullet, Sherry?
Sure.
If we were to, do you guys feel like if we read the background packets, is that enough? Like if that were to be the outcome, like for instance, we were away and there was just no time for much, would that be good enough to bring us up to speed for the next board meeting, just to go over all of the paperwork and the packets that were sent? Is that clear?
That's a good point. Like that really should be the first thing, right? You look through the board packet. You read
then
through all
maybe
the
like-
background sheets.
But I think it's important to know the discussion that took place.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna get that from just reading that board packet.
But you could put shall read the board packet and watch the video and may notify the school director for further clarification or question.
How about if a
That we
board
make effort?
if a board member must miss a meeting, after reading the board packet, the board member shall view the recorded version of the missed meeting and may contact the school director with further clarifications. Okay.
That might be a deterrent not to miss a meeting.
Yes. Okay.
okay.
And all the rest were okay?
Looks good.
So if a board member attendance problem exists, the board chair or designee shall contact the member to discuss the problem. If a board member misses 3 consecutive regular board meetings, the board may vote to remove the board member. Were you guys okay with those two?
The only other one that's missing that is which showed up in other attendance policies. The protocol referencing missing 1/3 of the total number of board meetings within a 12-month period.
So either missing 3 consecutive or 1/3 of the total in a 12-month period.
Or 2 unnotified absences in a row. All those three actions can potentially remove a board member.
Where did I read? I read that.
Yeah, it's I don't remember which resource it was, but it was one of them, and it's one of the things that's listed.
I could add those if you guys want.
And I think that we've always felt that we wanted everything in black and white and spelled out because we may or may not always be here.
Yes, right.
So people
So
study
it's-
behind us, it's all right there.
So I guess you could word it, if a member misses 1/3 of the total number of board meetings in a 12-month period, we only meet 11 times. It's 3 point blah, 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 so. it'd
But
be
we
4
wouldn't
meetings.
know
It'd be
until. the-
four meetings within a year.
Yeah,
So, okay, if a board member misses 3 consecutive regular board meetings, comma, 1/3 of the total board meetings within the last 12-month period, comma, or 2 meetings, what'd you say, that were like
Said-
not
Two unnotified,
unnotified, meaning they just didn't show and they didn't tell anybody?
right?
now,
And, that's there because we had that experience.
uh-huh. Should we go the 2 unnotified meetings first?
Yes,
Then the 3 consecutive? And then, because that would be more in a chrono.
yeah, that's how
order.
this one is listed.
Oh, because we wouldn't know that somebody has missed 1/3 of the meetings until perhaps towards the end of the year.
And is that
May or a shall?
no, is that a calendar year or is that a school year?
I said within the last 12-month period, because then it doesn't really matter. That's what I wrote here, but I could change it.
Okay, just so that it's clear
Yeah.
that there's a starting point and an ending
I
point
still feel
somewhere.
like the
in
2
between.
unnotified meetings needs to be worded a little differently. Because unnotified meetings makes it sound as if the meetings were unnotified.
Okay, no, has 2 unnotified absences
Absence.
Oh, there we go.
in a row. Quote, unnotified means the member did not call ahead
Okay,
to a reasonable
okay, thank you.
contact in the organization before the upcoming meeting to indicate they would be gone for.
So here's
said
how it's
meeting.
worded right now. If a board member misses 2, if a board member has 2 unnotified absences in a row, misses 3 consecutive regular board meetings, or misses 1/3 of the total board meetings within the last 12-month period, the board may vote to remove the board member.
Okay, let's, I guess it'd be easier to see it in
Yeah.
print.
Yeah.
But for consistency,
Yeah,
if a member has 3 notified absences in a row. So we keep using absences.
okay, if a board member has 2 unnotified absences in a row, 3 notified,
Absences,
3 consecutive regular board meeting absences. Maybe I should say, I'm gonna use the word consecutive instead of in a row, but I
Now,
like where you're going, make it consistent.
well, Rosemary be in my ear.
Okay, if a board member has 2 consecutive unnotified absences in a row, maybe we don't need unnotified now, right? Yeah, we do. Notified.
Yeah. that
Okay.
one.
If a board member has 2 consecutive unnotified absences, or 3 consecutive regular board meeting absences, or misses 1/3 of the total board meetings.
what did you
Needs to be
say that
regular.
middle one was? The
Or
3?
is absent 1/3 of the total number of board meetings in a 12-month period.
Of regular board meetings.
Okay,
Yes,
of the total regular board meeting.
Okay, read that again.
Okay,
This is just deja vu of the handbook
yeah,
when we were doing that. Read that sentence again, please.
I'm trying. Okay. If a board member has 2 consecutive unnotified absences, or 3 consecutive regular board meeting absences, or is absent 1/3 of the total regular board meetings within the last 12-month period, the board may vote to remove the board member.
Now, you have two unnotified, right?
No, one notified, one unnotified.
Do we have? Well, we do need the notified, the root word there, okay.
So is the 1/3 missed? That's notified or unnotified? That one, it doesn't really matter.
No, because
Correct.
it's 1/3 of the,
One-third of the total meetings in a
Uh-huh.
year's time. Which is, you could say 1/3 in parentheses, 4
Mhm.
in our case.
If it is regular, but
If
see,
it's
I,
regular.
yeah, okay, it's regular.
Well,
Do we want it to be regular?
no,
think In
I think
general,
we
is
should
better.
include special as well.
just
because-
1/3 of all meetings, or
Yeah.
the yearly meetings, or the yearly calendar.
I disagree on the special board meetings, because those are kind of impromptu and they come up.
If people might have
Yeah,
lots
they're
of-
They
important,
have conflict.
right,
and it's
they're really
special,
important, yeah.
But they are important, I get that, but still.
It's not something people could pre-plan, is what you're saying. You might have a conflict and there's the
Right.
unlike
And then
the
you're-
regular ones on, a year in
Yeah,
advance.
you know, a year in advance.
But a special board meeting could be 2 days from now. You might have something on your calendar and
That's
that does
true,
make it.
that's true,
hard.
that's true,
That's
that's
what
true.
you're saying.
To give
Good point.
24-hour notice.
Right.
Right,
And I don't think the board members should be penalized for that.
right.
But the regular ones, yeah, we know about them in advance,
Yeah.
so. Okay, should I read it one last time?
Yes,
Okay, if a board member has 2 consecutive unnotified absences or 3 consecutive,
Let me say that again.
if a board member has 2 consecutive
Okay.
unnotified absences. That one doesn't say regular or not. Do we care? Do we want that one to say regular? The other 2 say regular. This one doesn't.
I wonder if.
If it's
we-
unnotified, I mean, you should be able to notify if you're gonna miss or not, right? I mean, I think that one, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
If a
Yeah,
board
'cause
member
one-
has 2, if a
Go
board
on.
member has 2 consecutive unnotified absences or 3 consecutive regular board meeting absences, or is absent 1/3 of the total regular board meetings within the last 12-month period, the board may vote to remove the board member.
I think may should be in capitalized.
And I didn't put the 4, but I could.
When we only had 3 board members, how long did we search before we found other board members?
Oh. Long time.
So you don't want to scare off potential board members by thinking, oh, if I miss a couple meetings, I'm gonna be voted out. Why
Well-
would anyone want to be on a board?
Yeah,
But
that,
we
that
don't-
is true, but I said this before, we have to be very cautious. I mean, it's a fine line to walk, but I don't want this board to be held hostage to the difficulty in filling a vacant seat and take a lesser than kind of approach. I think that's a recipe for disaster. That's just how I personally feel.
Well, if you'd like, I'll email out this final version.
Is it just?
And if it's, unless somebody sees something else, I'll add it into the handbook as a final thing, another protocol. And then next month, in the discussion, I'll have another protocol. You might remember last month, we listed several things to discuss as protocols. And we ordered like, okay, this is gonna be first. If I'm remembering right, I don't have my notes in front of me. Communication might have been second, but I can't swear to that. But anyway, we did last month, we said what our first couple ones we were gonna bring to meetings, and this was number 1. So I'll bring the second one. I'll put the second one on the agenda next month. And
Onboarding.
Yeah, onboarding is one of the ones that we listed a bunch, but I just don't remember which one we said was gonna be second, but I'll bring this, what I think might be the final to that meeting too.
now, should at the end of this,
Mhm,
because I believe that the message that we want to convey
mhm.
is that the business or the work that we do is important. And should there be like a closing sentence or something conveying?
None of the other ones are set up that way. The other ones are all structured where it's like
Okay.
the how we place importance on this paragraph is first, and then kind
Okay.
of, that's how all the whole rest of the handbook is laid
And we
out.
want it to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good job.
All right, moving on to reports, 7.1. Student enrollment and attendance report. You can see the figures and the chart in your packet. Is there any comment?
I think that we commented on this last time. But I'm gonna do it, excuse me, I'm gonna do it again. I like seeing where we were last year compared to this year. I like that.
So last time, I think was the month that this part was
Was
super busy.
busy,
And Jerry,
yeah.
and Jerry said, no, just put it
Yeah.
here. And so, and Linda was glad about that, I think. So that's what we'll do at this format now.
Good. All right. 7.2, the financial report for Northern United Humboldt Charter School and Northern United Siskiyou Charter School. Again, it's the documents. The financial spreadsheets are in your packet. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
No. Okay. 7.3, the Northern United Humboldt Charter School report.
Love the color pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really makes a difference.
While the evolution of these reports has been phenomenal. I mean, with all due respect and not disparaging Julie or Rebecca or whoever doing and Kurt oral reports about what went on. Those are fine, but visually these really just jump out at us. So,
And I like the tradition of kindergartners still making stone soup. That has been something that's gone on for years.
so, and any comments, questions? Just excellent.
Mhm.
I love that we're doing, that we have a choir. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the Northern United Siskiyou Charter School report. Again, really quite lovely. Anything you want to add to this, Kurt?
No,
Okay. Very good. And then 7.5, the director's report.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that I've applied for another kitchen infrastructure grant. You might remember I applied for those last year, and we got 25,000 each for Humboldt and Siskiyou, and I've applied for another one now for a minimum of 100,000. It'll be a little more than that. We also discovered.
If you didn't get that, it's in infrastructure.
Yeah. I also found out, you may remember that I had applied for a community schools implementation grant for both Humboldt and Siskiyou community schools planning grant for Humboldt and Siskiyou. So both schools got 200,000 in a grant. Humboldt got 200 and Siskiyou got 200. And at the time that I applied for those and received those, that was the implementation grant. And we were told that non-classroom based charters could not apply for the next part, which is that was the planning grant. And we were told non-classroom based charters couldn't apply for the next part, which is the implementation grant. Well, that has now changed. So I will be applying for a community schools grant for both schools for the implementation grant as well. I brought in a field trip thank you card. I don't know if Bianca and Melissa can see it, but a group of students over here this is the camera. A group of students over here went up higher. There you go. Went on a field trip, and it was to a ropes course, a low ropes course, and they wrote a little thank you card to the board for allowing that.
No.
Oh, let's see. I'm going to look at a new facility next week on Tuesday at 10 o'clock in Eureka. And it is a facility that I would hope, if, we'll see how it looks, but my plan for it would be the records office, the business office here, the resource center. So like everything in this building, plus the records office, and potentially Eureka Learning Center. Rebecca's going to go with me to look at it, and we'll see. It's 1315 4th Street. So it was the building that was Hunt and Hunter, I think, is what it used to be. It's not in the best area, but it is a nice building. It's 2-story, ADA compliant. They have an elevator in it. But a couple other, she did let me know that a couple other government agencies are looking at it right now, like the County of Humboldt and somebody else is looking at it.
Yeah, it's down.
We have a staff meeting tomorrow, both schools staff meeting. And then in the second half of that, the Siskiyou staff are being dismissed while the Humboldt staff stays and gets their training on the opioid medication, the training for staff on Humboldt. That's happening tomorrow. And on the Siskiyou side, I'm not sure what date. The school nurses are doing that on the Siskiyou side. So we're starting out our staff meeting tomorrow morning together, everybody, both schools, and then splitting up later on, like I said, for Humboldt to do the opioid training. And I think that's probably it for now.
The opioid training, I think I saw something blurb this morning that the narco may soon be available over the counter.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
They have such a huge problem.
Yeah, I had to apply to the state for a standing order prescription for that and received that. And then I had to order the medication from the state, which was delivered today, actually. And then we have trainers and mannequins. There's a dummy sitting out there right now to to do the hands-on part of the training tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments for Sherry?
This the building?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's down there, but
Yeah, definitely. That's why they have those fences.
Whoa.
It's sketchy. Maybe, but it's a beautiful building.
It is. It's a nice
I
building.
can't envision it.
It's not very old.
No, it's 2006. It was
Yeah.
built.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, moving on to board report. Bianca.
Thank you. I do not have anything to report since last meeting. Thank you, Rosemary.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Melissa?
Nothing to report.
I do.
Okay, Rosemary, take it away.
All right. First, I would like to thank Sherry for sending us the recent Brown Act slideshow. It was a great refresher for me, good resource. Thank you for doing that. I also attended the Eureka Learning Center Friendsgiving. I was really impressed by the students. They were a true example of friends. They really were, and they had like little pods in every corner. There was a group of kids, and they were just so respectful of each other and whatnot. I don't know, maybe it was the home cooking that did it. I don't know, but I was very impressed. And then I also attended the Cotton Learning Center Holiday Market, and our students were very engaged with potential customers. They did a great job. And I had my picture taken with Santa. However, my grandson would not let me sit on his lap. And that's it for me.
Interesting. Well, good.
Computer's just about to die. Talk quick.
Oh, well, no,
Before
I was
it
gonna
does.
give you another. I have nothing to report.
Okay.
So 8, the next board meeting, 8.1, possible agenda items.
School accountability report cards. The SARCs will be in January. Northern United Siskiyou's first interim. The new board meeting calendar, I've already emailed that out to you. The board self-evaluation template, I'll bring that. And then our new protocol we'll discuss. And then just heads up, that next board meeting date will actually be January 11th there, not the 12th.
Wednesday, and so the next board meeting date will be January 11th. Wednesday is our new regular day.
It's gonna be weird.
Yeah, that's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And without further ado, I'll adjourn this board meeting at 5:49.